Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. We are live about 11 o'clock on Monday night. Almost 24 hours past the poor performance by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Best way to spin it. Um, like I said, it's been almost 24 hours. Lee, how are you feeling about that game? Have you been able to get over any of the bullshit that went on?
Yeah, it's been I'm doing all right, but that game was very disappointing. It's a game again, 2 weeks in a row we should have won. Um, I just don't even know. I'm at a loss of words just to how things went with that whole game. Definitely gonna have some words to say as we go along with this live post game show. So might as well just jump into it and see what's going on.
Yeah, so I mean, there's not a lot of positive to take away from the game last night, and it's even more depressing because we had to wait an hour and a half through a rain delay
Yeah.
to watch. I mean, we can get into the defense too, but just to watch that offense, and it's just a boring watch. There's just nothing to look forward to right now. It
Yeah.
seems like
No.
just with the offense. Justin Fields finishes 15 of 27 for just 131 yards. That's a 4.9 yard average per attempt, which is just nothing that you would be proud of. He did have 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks for 16 yards there. Najee Harris was the guy I said he's going to show up today. We talked about the defense for the Cowboys being pretty poor throughout the first 4 games of the season. He ends up 14 carries, 42 yards. It's 3 yards carry. It's just not good enough. You got other guys like Patterson and Warren are hurt, so you're relying on some guys that probably shouldn't even be in the league. Guys that Jonathan Ward, Aaron Shamklin.
Mm-hmm.
You expect Najee to step up in this situation. He just didn't do it. And I think, that's the big thing for me is like I expected the run game to have some success, and they just didn't do anything here.
Yeah, especially with all the injuries that the Cowboys had coming into this game on defense side. You know, you thought that there could have been a lot more, running going on, a lot more plays being done by the offense. But obviously, like you said, they couldn't even get things going. I mean, even with the Cowboys coming in, I think you had talked about it last week. They were like the 22nd or 27th ranked defense, 27th rush defense coming into the game that week. We still just, for some reason, nothing could get going with the run game. Nothing happened offensively. I don't know if the field being wet had a factor, but these guys play in all kinds of inclement weather, and that shouldn't really be too much of a problem. But there was nothing going on offensively at all.
And then to make things worse, the passing game just wasn't working either. The leading receiver on the game, yardage-wise, was Najee Harris with 35 yards. He had 35 yards, and he led the team. Van Jefferson, 3 for 26. George Pickens, 3 for 26. For a while, there was 1 for 8 for Pickens. I think we can talk about him a little later. He had an interesting game, to say the least. And he's starting to get a lot of shit online today in the aftermath of it, where there's a lot of plays where he was jogging. There's a lot of plays where effort just didn't seem to be there. And then on top of that, at the end of the game, he lets his emotions get to him and pulls the guy to the ground, which honestly, the more I've seen it, the less I care about that play. But the guy comes up into his face. It is a reaction you don't want to see there, but it's not that big of a deal compared to the other plays in the game, where even if you want to put in the drops it's something, but like for him, with his hands being so secure, maybe it's just something mental with him, or like he's out of it mentally, so his ability to catch the ball even seemed to go on the wayside.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you expect more with him right now being our number 1 receiver. Expect a lot more. I mean, he was a guy that I predicted that was going to step up this week offensively, and he said, only having 26 yards, for receiving with 3 catches. I mean, that really wasn't much going on. So again, just a very disappointing performance by the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday. Definitely expect a lot more. This was a game I predicted they'd win as well, but I don't even know how much more credit I can give to this team. I mean, it just seems like this is just a repetitive thing, and I don't see any improvement right now.
Yeah, all the positivity of the 3-0 start's gone. This is looking this felt like a Matt Canada game for sure.
Yeah.
It just felt that way. And I think I saw that the total yardage here, I think it was like 226, is lower than any game that Kenny Pickett started, and that's not a positive for Kenny Pickett. It just shows you how bad
Yeah.
things were today. But yeah, it could have been worse. Honestly, it
It
could have
could
been
have
a
been.
lot
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I don't want to steal your thunder on the stats here, but the team stats. But yeah, they had 3 turnovers and a blocked field goal.
Hmm.
Um, it could have got ugly quick. I think here, Cowboys. Dak Prescott ended up 29 of 42 for 352 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the ground, Dowdle went 20 carries, 87 yards. I think that's probably his best start of his career.
Hmm.
Um, they had a total of 31 carries for 109 yards, which isn't that great, but Dowdle had a pretty good game there. Tolbert got the game-winning touchdown. He had 7 catches, 87 yards, and a TD. Ferguson 6 for 70, CD Lamb 5 of 62. So they were able to move the ball throughout the game. Steelers defense did not do well in that regard, yardage wise, but they did have a bunch of turnovers. They did have a bunch of stops. That you got to give them some credit, but I think the standard is the standard here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say, and they didn't do
Yeah.
enough. And they gave up that final drive, cost them the game there. They let them go 70 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah. It just seemed like they could not stop. The defense couldn't stop there at the end. Even with the momentum that they had going in, with the turnovers they had, like you said, the block field goal, you know, um, then going down and scoring a touchdown to, go up by 4 points. It just didn't seem like they couldn't get any momentum building. You know, I mean, you have 3 turnovers plus a block. I mean, pretty much 4 turnovers at that point right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that, a team that has that much of turnovers, you don't lose that game. I mean,
Yeah.
the Cowboys didn't really come up defensively, but they still could not win that game even with the turnovers they had.
Yeah. I don't have it specifically in front of me, but I know the numbers. It's probably up to 90% win percentage when you have a +3 in the turnover differential there. I guess go through the scoring here. The Cowboys let it off with a field goal to make it 3-0. The Steelers returned a field goal drive, make it 3-3. Then we had a few drives in a row with with punts, fumbled by the Cowboys as they were driving down at one point. And this was just a boring, slow start to the game.
Yeah.
The Cowboys end up getting another field goal to make it 6-3. That's by the halftime it's 6-3. At that point, what are you thinking about this game? It was a slog fest.
Yeah, it was definitely a very slow game. I was thinking with it just being 6-3 at half, it was just going to be a low scoring game. I know that what we've seen from the Steelers where they're a second half team. I thought maybe in the second half they could have pulled things together and kind of came out and got a little hot in the second half. So that was my thoughts going into the second half right there at that point.
Yeah, there were little red flags for the Steelers for sure. Dak fumbled at the on a 3rd and 6 from the pit 11. Then they had an interception on the 3-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
15-yard line. He threw to the 3-yard line to Jackson.
Yeah.
So he had 2 red zone turnovers in the first half. Like we were saying earlier, it could have been a lot uglier than it was.
Yeah.
But Steelers come out second half, first drive. Justin Fields gets hurt for a play. Kyle Allen comes in, has a nice ball over the middle, and then Fields comes back in and just he seemed like the timeout, the bump in the head, it helped him out.
Yeah.
He goes and drives the Steelers down to make it 10-6. The next drive for the Cowboys, the Steelers were able to block a field goal. Unfortunately, a couple drives later, the Cowboys scored the touchdown on a 14-play, 90-yard drive that took up 8 minutes and 32 seconds. That's just unacceptable on the defense's part. It's just very frustrating. Scores 13-10 there. Steelers do get the lead back with a 12-play, 63-yard drive to make it 17-13. And you're thinking Steelers got the chance to win this game. The Cowboys get the ball back with about 5 minutes left or so. They go down. It scored touchdown on a 13-play, 70-yard drive that took 4 minutes 36 seconds. Steelers couldn't do anything with the next drive. They had only 20 seconds left on the clock. Final score is 20-17. Dallas Cowboys win. I looking through it now. I'm guessing you're going to go through this, but I bet your time of possession was really on Dallas's side here for most of this game, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of close, but yeah, Dallas pretty much had the time of possession. I'll run through these real quick. Again, like you said, final score, Cowboys 20, Steelers 17. Total yards, Cowboys 445 total yards to the Steelers, only 226, like you said earlier. Pass yards, Cowboys 336 to the Steelers 134. I mean, they had 200 more pass yards than us. Rush yards, which, even though it could have been a lot better for the Steelers, I'm surprised is what they got. Cowboys had 109 rush yards to the Steelers 92. Yards per play, Cowboys 5.9 yards per play to the Steelers 4 yards per play. First downs, Cowboys 25 to the Steelers 17. Now this is where it just was ugly. Third down efficiency, Cowboys 9 for 15, Steelers 3 for 12. You can't have that. 3 for 12 on third down. It's just something you cannot do. I mean, you're not going to move any. You're not going to have any movement down the field if you can't get off the. You can't make a third down. And of course, the Steelers couldn't stop any of those third downs on the defensive side. There were some that were kind of a little bit longer than they should have been, and they couldn't stop them. Fourth down efficiency, Cowboys 1 for 1, Steelers 2 for 2. Total plays, Cowboys 75 to the Steelers 57. Steelers sacked the Cowboys 3 times, and Cowboys sacked the Steelers twice. Here's another one, punts. Cowboys had 1 punt during that whole entire game. Steelers punted the ball 5 times. I mean, it's like it's unreal. And this is something that it just doesn't seem to just go away. Penalty yards. Even though the Cowboys were a lot worse, Cowboys had 11 for 87. Steelers had 8 for 50. I mean, it's still 50 yards that the Steelers gave up that they shouldn't have given up. And some of them were just so remedial plays that just – it's like, are they not training that in practice?
Yeah.
They're not practicing.
They were like drive stallers too.
Yeah.
Like every time the Steelers did get a penalty, it was something that just killed a drive.
Yeah.
I do have Tomlin ready for us here if you want to go into Tomlin at all.
Yeah, real quick, let me just finish this real quick. For turnovers, Steelers fumbled once. Cowboys
that was the last
once.
play of the game,
yeah,
too. That was like the bullshit backyard kind of deal.
Yeah, and then Cowboys threw 2 interceptions. We didn't have any. Again, that's with the whole penalties, or the turnovers, you would think that we should have won that game. Of course, there was a blocked field goal. And then time of possession, Cowboys 32 minutes and 29 seconds to the Steelers, 27 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yeah, you just can't have 0 points off 3 turnovers. It's just,
no.
You have to take advantage of situations like that, especially with a team where you're not going to score points in general. When your defense does that for you, you got to do something with it, and they just were unable to do anything.
Yeah, not at all.
Here's Tomlin. Let's see what he has to say this week.
Yeah.
It's not too long of a conference. Maybe that's intentional on his part.
Yeah.
I just told the team there's a fine line between drinking wine and squashing grapes in our business. And, that's an example of it. That ball's on the ground right there in the red area. And that's the difference. I want to congratulate them.
I just don't. I disagree with him there. Just to start it off, I know we're like 30 seconds in, not even 16 seconds in. That wasn't the difference in the game, and that fumble was a great play by Landon Roberts. But I mean, it bounced right back to the Cowboys. It wasn't like that was gonna the Steelers blew that game. That was a great play by the Steelers. That ended up not being able to get a turnover there, but. I mean, to say that's the reason they lost this game or that's the difference in the game, it's just bullshit. There's so many big plays that happen outside of that play there.
Exactly. I mean, we had other multiple turnovers, like you said earlier, that they didn't even score points off of, and there were so many other plays that happened during that game that they could have made that they didn't make. And they blew it on themselves. Not that's again, like you said, it's bullshit to say. You can't just say that was the fine line. Like that's what defined the game at the end. It wasn't. They had the whole rest of the 59 minutes and 30 seconds to do something before that. You know what I mean? To do something. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a cop-out on his part, I think there.
Yeah.
But Harry's going to congratulate the Cowboys, I think.
Dallas, man, I'm going to compliment our guys on their efforts. It was a hard-fought game tonight. But it's nothing mystical about the outcome. I just thought we didn't do enough over 60 minutes to position ourselves specifically. I thought we started slow offensively, and I thought it was self-inflicted wounds, penalties and things of that nature to get us off schedule. I didn't think we were as connected as we should have been defensively in some moments in the first half. Didn't necessarily manifest itself in the terms of points, but it was some field positional flipping like chunks and things of that nature. I thought we settled down and cleaned some of that up over the second half. But obviously, when you're playing a good team, and particularly a guy like Dak Prescott, man, you're in tight ball games. He ends up with the ball last. You got a chance to lose. And that's really just a synopsis of what transpired. Had some.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dak also had 3 turnovers himself this game.
And
it's starting to get tiresome to hear how we seem to calm down as the game went on. How about we just start off with a good, strong start from the team?
Yeah.
They did get a field goal in the first drive, but after that, just nothing in that first half. Once again, it's starting to become a trend.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the last few seasons to go off of, and it's just this season. You can try to argue, they're still 3-2, but the signs are there that this could turn for the worse.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, it just, like I said, I can't give this team any more credit. Just over the years, it's been the same shit with this team, I'm starting to, I don't really know how I'm going to feel about, Mike Tomlin anymore. I mean, it just, the coaching, the thing, you could say, okay, yeah, he's coming into the season with new staffing and new players and things like that. But it just seems like it's the same bullshit that we see every year with this team. Offense can't go. It can't get moving. When it comes down to it, the defense can't stop a nosebleed at the end of the game when we're down. We're always playing down to our competition. There's never a game where we can go in blowing out a team. It just seems like we're always starting off slow and trying to catch up at the end. You have one of the highest paid defenses in the league, and yet you can't do anything defensively. And, for him to be a defensive coach, it just seems like, the defense – is making plays and having turnovers, yet they can't even get things going on the offense. And it just seems like it's, he comes in with these press conferences and he's, of course, he has to give the politically correct answer. And he's always, giving high praise to the other team. And of course, that's what a coach is supposed to do. And that's what, how you're supposed to do things. But it's like, how about you fix some of this stuff in practice? How about you fix some of these remedial, easy fixes? You keep talking about the same thing, how you mistakes on your end, you kicked yourself in the butt, you did this, and it's every week he says the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how come you're not fixing it in practice? I just don't understand.
Yeah. And then it's starting to become an issue with effort too. George Pickens, the clips are out there. I can pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can find it. He just wasn't running routes this week towards the end of these games. Let me pull this up real quick. It's rough to watch. It really is.
Yeah.
And he's like one of your only guys that has shown that they have any talent, and he's out here just jogging. I won't play this whole thing, but there's just, when the ball's going to him, he's running. When the ball's not going to him, he's not moving.
Yeah.
You can see on the plays here, like this one here, I think it's just, he's not even trying to run like.
Yeah. It doesn't even. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
That's the drop there. We can maybe talk about it more this week. There's also comments from Pat Freiermuth
mm-hmm.
That I thought was interesting. plays into Pickens, I think, there. But let's go back to Tomlin and see what else he has to say here. I think he's going to go into injuries maybe, and then I think he's going to answer some questions.
Some injuries in play. Nick Herbert got a hamstring. DeMarvin Leal had a neck injury of some kind that's being evaluated. Don't have a lot of information on that. And that's where it is. I'll pause and open up for questions.
Mike, what kept your offense from being able to turn those turnovers and stops into points and sustaining those drives?
Some of it was lack of execution by us. Some of it was top quality execution by them. We own it. We got to be better. You +3 in some of those instances, man. It shouldn't come down to that. So we didn't do a lot of things well enough to secure victory, no doubt.
Fair answer, I guess, but it's just given the praise of the Cowboys defense that has not been good this season, and without Micah Parsons, without Dexter Lawrence.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you come in like you said, they had the 27th ranked rushing defense coming in, and you can't get anything going on the ground. You can't get anything going through the air. You have 3+ turnovers and a blocked field goal, and you just couldn't get anything going. You had all the momentum on your side of that whole game, and for you to say that, it was a great performance by the defense, the Dallas defense. The offense just couldn't get going. They had nobody on defense, no big players to actually do anything, and yet they still couldn't do anything. It was all poor effort on the offensive side.
Yeah, just to clear, I said Dexter. DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously, is a Cowboy. Dexter's with the Giants. But, yeah, two big guys going for them. Running game just does nothing. Passing game, just as bad. I mean, it's just tough to watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's tough to watch.
It is.
Mike, were the down and distance why the struggles for a second week on third down on defense?
I just thought early on, man, I didn't think that we were connected enough from a communication standpoint. They paced us a little bit. But a lot of that's got to do with Dak, He's a veteran guy. He's good in those moments.
Like George Pickens wasn't one of your higher snap players on offense. There was a whole series where he was on the bench in the second half. What went into that?
We just wanted to kind of minimize his reps in an effort to get more productivity. We just trying to rep manage in terms of the totality of the big picture. He wasn't less of a focal point in terms of our intentions of what we wanted to do offensively, but we did want to cut his reps a little bit in an effort to get higher quality play, just in general.
Complete bullshit.
What? What?
We're talking about a guy still in his low 20s, mid-20s, not even mid-20s yet.
And he's your wide receiver one?
He's receiver one. He ended up with fewer snaps than your receiver 2 and your receiver 3. It's just complete bullshit on that part. He's obvious. It's obvious what he's doing here. He's protecting Pickens from the fact that he got in trouble, but he didn't want to go and blast him on the post-game press conference. It's obvious that Tomlin didn't like the effort he saw from him during the game, and he sat him down.
I think it's pretty obvious. And like you said, you could see his behavior throughout the game with how he was running the routes. And, of course, he makes that stupid little thing at the end of the game. I mean, you could just see it. It was there, and he's your wide receiver one. Why are you limiting reps to him? I mean, he's supposed to be the guy that gets the most targets in the game, and he's not doing it. He just seems like he gave up in that game.
Yeah.
Also, the comment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Also, the comment about how the third down thing. I mean, Dak threw 2 interceptions and fumbled the ball. You can't say that it was all Dak doing that. The defense couldn't stop them at all.
Yeah. And it's 2 weeks in a row because Flacco did the same thing last week to them throughout that game. It's a lot of money on that defense. I love Minka, and he had 10 tackles, I think, yesterday. But it's been 17 games now since he had a turnover or takeaway of his own.
Yeah, we haven't heard much from him. There was another guy that I thought was going to step up this week and didn't hear anything.
I wonder if it's the way they're playing him. He's playing like center field back there, and if no one's throwing the ball deep over the middle, he's not really doing anything to help anyone out there if he's just going to be back in center field. Maybe he's stopping them from some explosive plays, but it doesn't matter if they're going to convert 3rd and 8s and so on and so on, as they say. I don't know. Let's see what else we got from Tomlin.
Was he not playing up to the quality that you wanted from him?
It's no different than we minimize some of the snaps of D linemen like Cam Hayward and so forth, man.
35-year-old Cam Hayward compared to young George Pickens. Oh God!
It's just about snap management. It's
snap
no
management
story,
for a fucking.
To be quite honest with you,
young man.
Seemed like Beanie was getting targeted by Dak throughout the game. What did you see from his performance tonight?
I think we all know that Beanie's going to get targeted, and I think Beanie knows he's going to get targeted. Man, he's a young guy, in the huddle. Such as life in the NFL as a defensive back.
Yeah, they're not putting him in a great spot.
No,
I feel like they were able.
He's playing a lot of slot. I don't know how much he played at West Virginia there, but I know he came in. He was drafted as a safety, and he's out there a lot. And it's another situation where, with all that money back there, you'd think they'd have something figured out.
Exactly. Exactly.
To do to get on track against you guys.
As he mentioned, we had to allocate a certain number of people in the passing game, and so that's the cat and mouse strategic component of play that kind of goes down in good close football games.
Anyone else?
What's your mindset about taking the last time out on defense there?
Just trying to win the game, man. Want to gather some information, see the structure that they came out in, get ourselves in the right call. It was a 4th down play. No hesitation about that. We had an opportunity to win that game right there, forget what comes after. And so we took a timeout, we communicated, we got in a call that we liked, and they won the down.
In general, are you thinking, when it gets under a certain amount of time on the clock, you're much more likely to win the game on defense than you would be no matter how many timeouts you'd save for offense?
It was a 4th down play. The game was right there.
Anyone else?
I have no problem with that, the timeout call there, but it does make you laugh because of last week and keeping that timeout in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess he wanted to keep his timeout in the pocket for a situation like that where the other team was about to score in the lasting moments of the game. Just looking forward, they got the Raiders coming up this week in Las Vegas, and then they have the Jets and the Giants. These are 3 winnable games here, and they need to win them because after that it gets ugly.
Yeah.
You're looking at Commanders, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals to end the season there. That's not fun. I think they need to win all 3 of these games coming up here, starting with the Raiders next week.
Yeah, they have to. And right now, I don't even if we were to go in and start going through predictions on these next 3 games, I don't see this. I can't predict them winning because just how their performance has been over these last couple of games. Like you said, the positivity going in 3-0, it was looking pretty decent being a second half team, but the way they've been playing against the way they played against the Colts last week and last night against the Cowboys, we were thinking that the dam was getting ready to break for the offense, but it just seems like ain't nothing going now. I mean, it's disappointing just to watch, this defense not be able to stop, Dak Prescott and Joe Flacco the past 2 weeks. And then just for the offense last night to not get going. 3rd down efficiency just getting killed on long, for the defense not being able to stop on long 3rd downs last week. And then, for them not to even get going on 3rd down this week. I mean, the penalties are killing them. You go into these games with plus and the turnover margin, and you still can't even win a game. I just don't know. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just disappointing to watch. You got some key players that are actually out there doing things, and you get the momentum and you're building things, and you can't even get things going. So I don't even know what to think for these next couple games. But like you said, you're absolutely right. They have to win these games because it's going to get very brutal that second half of the season.
Yeah, and then they also had the chance to get up on the Ravens in these standings, but now it's tied 3-2 for both teams here. Part of that you would have hoped that Cincinnati could have pulled off that win on Sunday, but they weren't. They gave up that lead. The Steelers themselves have had 2 games in a row where they could have won. If they're 5-0 right now, they're 2 games up on Baltimore. You have a little bit of leeway, but instead you're looking at 3-2. They're tied now, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they can pull through here. Going to Justin Fields, I guess we didn't talk too much about him. I think it was a step back from last week for sure for him. We got Russell Wilson coming back possibly to practice this week, so it'll be interesting to see what Tomlin decides to do this week. I think you got to give Fields a little more time. I think it's just fair. The way he's played has been all right. But if they go back to Russell, I have no problem with that either because the offense needs a spark, and maybe Russell can be that spark. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I hear you on that. They need something going. I mean, you can't go in with 134 passing yards in a game. I mean, that's nothing. That is nothing at all. Props to Justin Fields for not really turning the ball over, throwing it, but you got to get some. He has an arm. You got to get some plays. You got to get something deep. You got to get something moving down the field. Short plays, like you said, it looked like a Matt Canada offensive game last night. It just there was nothing going, and this offense needs something to get moving because you can't just try to keep playing catch up every second half. You can't go in, just scoring a little bit of points. I mean, you got to get points. I mean, that's another thing. Going in from last season, I mean, they're not scoring. I mean, 17 points is not going to do it, at all. If you're keeping the team to 3 that you're playing against, sure, that's going to do it. But, when you have, Dak Prescott throwing 200 more pass yards than you, I mean, it's and you can't stop them on third down. They're going down and scoring, and they have the ball, a lot longer than you. It's 17 points is not going to do it. So they got to do something.
Yep, and it's going to start in Las Vegas. About to say Oakland, but yeah. I don't have too much else to speak about this week, Lee.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's
ended up here.
Yeah,
and then we'll be back later in the week with the regular talk.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, I'll see you.
I'll see you.